Jai Hind children. In the last class, we have talked about what is permanent tissue. Now, today we are going to start with the types of permanent tissue. As we have discussed that permanent tissue is of two types, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. The simple permanent tissue are composed of similar types of cells which have common origin and function. So, simple permanent tissue are the tissue made up of cells which are similar in structure and perform a common function. Now, these simple permanent tissue are again further grouped into three categories. They are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Let us now talk about the parenchyma. The parenchyma tissue is made up of parenchymatous cells, and the shape of the cells are spherical, oval, polygonal, cylindrical. Some places you will also find to be written as isodiametric. That means they have equal diameters. Next is, you can see that these are very thin walled. The cells are very thin walled and they have intercellular spaces. Now, what intercellular space is? That in between the cells there are lots of spaces. The cells are living, and as usual the cell wall here is made up of cellulose. So, parenchymatous cells are living and the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Where they are found? They are found in everywhere, every place of the plant. They are found in the root, they are found in the leaves, they are found in the stems. So, they are also said to be the ground tissue or the filler tissue. Based on the function the parenchyma tissue does, they are of three types: storage parenchyma, erenchyma and chlorenchyma. Let us first talk about storage parenchyma. Parenchymatous cells which store large amount of nutrient. Parenchymatous cells which store large amount of nutrients are known as storage parenchyma. The next is the erenchyma. As you find the name air or erenchyma. Now you have seen the lotus plant floating on the water. Why does it float on water? Lotus is an aquatic plant and has the characteristics of floating. So they float on water. How do they float on water? Because the parenchymatous cells of the lotus plants, they have large air cavities. And these large air cavities of the parenchymatous tissues, they store gases and makes them buoyant or helps them to float. So, erenchyma is a type of parenchymatous tissue which helps the aquatic plants to float. Then is the chlorenchyma. Now, you should not confuse between chlorenchyma and collenchyma. Chlorenchyma name suggests it has chlorophyll or chloroplast. So, parenchymatous cell which contains the chloroplast or chlorophyll, and it will obviously help in the photosynthesis. So, when you read the section of the leaf or when you see the structure of the leaf, in the mesophyll cells you will find lots of chlorenchymatous cells which helps in the photosynthesis. So, what is the function of the parenchymatous cell? They can store, they have a function of storage. As they store many things, they help to maintain the shape of the plant also. They help to float and they also help to go for photosynthesis. Now, in your book, you will find two diagrams, the TS and the LS. What does TS means? TS is the transverse section. When you cut it horizontally, it is the TS, and when you cut it vertically, it is the LS. So this is about parenchyma. Let us move on to collenchyma. As we say, collenchyma, the shape of the cells again are of very similar to parenchyma. They are polygonal, they are spherical, or they are oval. Where does the difference lies between the parenchyma and collenchyma? The collenchymatous cells are also living, but the cell is unevenly thickened. You can see that the corner of the cells are very much thickened, and there is no intercellular space. As you can see, in parenchyma there is lots of intercellular space, but in the collenchyma we don't find the intercellular space. So no or very little intercellular space. Now why don't we find the intercellular space? Because there is a deposition of cellulose and pectin. So this has the deposition of cellulose and pectin. Since they have the deposition of cellulose and pectin, they make it very stiff. They make it very strong. There is no intercellular space. So where they are found then? They are found below the epidermis. Now what is epidermis? Epidermis is the epi means outer, dermis means layer. So after the outer layer in the plants, we find the collenchymatous tissue. They are found in the leaf stalks. They are found in the petiole of the leaf. And what is the function? It provides elasticity. Now when you pull the leaf of a plant and leave it, the leaves moves to its original position without breaking. So what is giving it? It is giving it elasticity. And since the cell walls are very thick, they give the mechanical support, or they give the strength. So collenchyma is a simple permanent tissue which is living, has no intercellular space or very little intercellular space because of the deposition of cellulose and pectin, and gives the mechanical support to the plant. Now let us talk about the third type or the third category, that is the sclerenchyma. We talk about the sclerenchymatous tissue. The sclerenchymatous tissue are dead. They are thick walled and they have the dead cell. And why do they have thick walled? They have the deposition of lignin. Lignin is a polymer, and due to this deposition of lignin on the cell wall, it becomes very strong, rigid, and impermeable to water. What does impermeable means? That means it does not allow the water to move in and out. Due to this deposition of lignin on the outer wall, the lumen means what? The inner space. The lumen is absent. And the sclerenchymatous cells are very closely packed. So they do not have any intercellular spaces. So sclerenchymatous cells are very compactly packed and they do not have any intercellular spaces. Based on the structure, they may be of two types: fibers and sclerates. Fibers. These fibers are long, elongated and pointed at the ends, and they have lots of lignin. So they are very strong. Where do we find these fibers? It is very common. In the husk of coconut, we find these sclerenchymatous fibers. The second type we tell is the sclerates or the stone cell. They are short and they have extremely thickened lignified wall. They are spherical or cylindrical. They are also known as stone cells. When you eat some fruits such as guava, pears, apple, etc., you find that the pulp of the food has some stony structure or some sandy structure or some rough thing which you can feel with your tongue. So what is that? That is the sclerates. Due to the sclerates you feel that. The sclerenchymatous tissue occurs in all the parts of the plant. When you will study the vascular bundle, you will find that the sclerenchymatous fibers are found in the xylem as well as the phloem. So, we find in the vascular tissue. And what does it do? Since it is the dead tissue, it provides lots of mechanical support to the plant. So, sclerenchymatous cells are dead cell and the walls are thickened due to the deposition of lignin. They are very closely packed and they give mechanical support to the plants. Thank you, children.